Hey, how you doing? So, this is day 9 of my live challenge, personal challenge, and I just want to say that we'll be heading back home tomorrow from Charleston, South Carolina. Had such an amazing weekend and conference here. We'll be home for only about a week, and then we'll be heading to Nashville for Funnel Hacker Live. Yay! That's going to be pretty awesome and fun too, I think. But I don't know if you people know, I didn't know who he was, but apparently he's pretty well known. Jimmy Yeary, country music singer, songwriter. He was one of our keynote speakers at this conference. And I actually took away some pretty awesome things that I want to share with y'all. But because I think, hey Cindy, thanks for joining. I think they're pretty important, especially for all of us doing, online marketing and everything like that. And I'll try to do it justice. But anyways, so one of his first keys was and it's in the context of developing relationships, getting to know people, creating that emotional bond with people that, you might want to sell your products or services to, etc. And his number one key was, if I feel it, you feel it. If you feel it, we connect. And if we connect, we can become friends. And then friends can create and do things. And it was in that too often, and I'm actually adding on to it what I believe the Lord was speaking to me about it as well. We don't like to feel the pain, the painful memories. We don't want to go back there, things like that. Unfortunately, way too many people decide to just shut it out. Say, I forgave so-and-so for what they did, and I don't need to talk about it no more. I forgave them. It's done. I don't need to relive it. Well, I've come to find out that that's not exactly true. Unfortunately, we do have to sometimes relive that pain, but in a safe environment, and that's the whole inner healing and everything, and I'm not going to go down that tangent, but anyways, his point was, when we can connect and express things from an emotional standpoint, from our hearts, other people start to think about themselves and situations they may have been that they've had similar emotional response to. And so then you get them to feel it. And when they feel it, it's this instant bond that you've just developed between them, and it goes towards our whole know, like, and trust with one another, right? Especially when trying to develop relationships on social media. That's why storytelling is so huge. His second point, which tags right on off of that, is to be authentically vulnerable. We all have a basic need or instinct to not be alone. And so when we're authentically vulnerable, again, we can create that bond with somebody else. And when we share our stories, people realize they're not alone. They're not the only one who's felt that way or has walked through that walk or anything like that. So again, it deepens that relationship of that know, like, and trust. And then number 3 was imagine it. And that's what other people do. So he was telling a story about his back door and his dad, and how his dad would stand at the back door and he would describe the doorknob. How it was painted 3 times and how it's caked with the fingerprints is, coming in and going out, coming in and going out, and how his dad had fingerprints up on the door, when he would stand there calling him in to come in the house for dinner or whatever. And then he'd go and open the door and say, okay, get out and go play. And then he'd be standing, hey, time to come in the house, as he's standing with his hand. And he'd talk about the door, and he talked about the color of the door and the doorknob. And so as he's telling that story, the majority of us started to think about our childhoods and our doors and, our parents calling us. And so it's that relationship, that unspoken bond that you're developing with people. And then he also said to draw that back door. And by drawing it, it's that verbal story, of exactly, the color. And he talked about how the paint, the handle was painted red and it was painted black and it was painted, gold and all of that stuff, to really give that verbal imagery of your story. And not just the emotions, but the surroundings of it, to make it even more personal. And then his fifth thing that he said was that sometimes we just have to put on our happy hats. And if we could get into a habit, and this part I thought was actually kind of funny, funny. Put on your happy hat every day, like as part of your morning routine, your self-talk. And he calls it a happy hat, H-A-T. It's a happy again talk. Way, 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 way too often, we all have that negative talk. And we start to, go down that negative road, and we talk about, negative emotions and negative feelings. Not that feelings in and of themselves are negative, but hey,
What are you doing?
I'm doing my life.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We literally just got in, and he was making something to eat because we haven't eaten since 1 o'clock. Anyways, so put on your happy hat, your happy again talk first thing in the morning, so that when things come up, you're already in a better mood. You can go through, and when that car cuts you off, he used the analogy, the negative talk and stuff and the emotions. It's like that car cuts you off in front of you and you get mad at that car. It's not necessarily that, it's the emotion that was triggered from way, way back, because you got cut off at the grocery store, you got cut off at the gas station, someone cuts in front of you, you get cut off and you lose your parking space that you were waiting for, and you realize, or you don't realize, but what's happening is, you're feeling insignificant, you're feeling like you don't exist, like you're unworthy. And so you're taking it out on that car who just cut you off because you finally had it up to here, right? But it's because we're not giving ourselves that happy again talk. And so, we just constantly relive all those bad emotions or bad feelings, bad experiences, without actually dealing with them. And so as you start to tell your story to really relate to other people, you have to really, give the details of it. Give the emotions of it. Give a physical imagery of your story, and be vulnerable, authentically vulnerable. I actually like that, being authentically vulnerable. And if I feel it, you feel it. And if you feel it, we have a connection. If we've got that connection, we become friends or business partners or customers or whatever it is. So anyways, I think that was pretty much about it. So that was like one of my key things that I took away today. And so hopefully this will help some of y'all. Have a great night.